with desire. Jonathan and Clive. We are big on sports. Big on sports.
Wonder production. She romantic. They can see you. Can you automatic? But this is the voice of the general. What's that? Girl, I can feel your energy. Please don't make me your enemy. Girl, I can feel your energy. Big up on your strength and your strategy. Girl, I can feel your energy. Please don't make me your enemy. Girl, I can feel your energy. Big up on your strength and your strategy. Dance well. Girl, I dance well. Dance well. Yeah, you dance well. Dance well. Dance well. Dance well. Dance well. The original, no faking. Can we go into baby making? Oh God, me a taking. Man a sleep a long time, we are working. 2:30, girl a double up. Can't make two people couple up. Girl easy, no trouble up. Watch no face, man, double up. You set the pace, anytime you move your waist, see the man them face a liar, move girl them a trace. Wanna have you girl for days, and you girl them a chase. Oh, what a different taste, girl copy and paste. Why is that? Girl, I can feel your energy. Please don't make me your enemy. Girl, I can feel your energy. Big up on your strength and your strength. Girl, I can feel your energy. Please don't make me your enemy. Girl, I can feel your energy. Big up on your strength and your strength. Love me. Love me. Love me. Love me. Wine pan time now, you a big ulande. Un tacatate, culum pocate. O modula tenta bocate. Putere cande, que piquila. Acanto cafuco, gunto. Matu, teore, fuca practico. Matu, chiva de chico, na chicaluva. My girl, you a slap well. Love me up. Walk, work, walk, work, walk, work, walk to walk. Walk, work, walk, walk. Jump off the taxi. Love me up. Walk, work, walk, work, walk, walk to walk.
Well, we are back. Welcome back from that short break. The Kwangmuchiga is still in studio. Earlier on, he played a song where DJ Shiru was featuring Pato Ranking, but I never heard DJ Shiru sing. And I'm still wondering why DJs keep on producing songs where they're featuring artists who can sing, and yes, they can't sing.
That's the name of the game. He owns the song because he probably, paid for the production for it, the video. He
produced the beats.
Yes. And him as a brand wants to push himself out as, not just as a DJ, but as an artist.
At least
at the end of the day, we are artists, as the DJs.
At least DJ Khalid says something. At least DJ Khalid says something. This is DJ Khalid.
Give him some time. You'll see.
That's the Kwangmuchiga for you, but of course it's the last show of the year, and we are speaking volleyball. In studio are the two candidates that will be vying for the post of president next year in January. Miss Hadija Nawanda, Mr. Eddie Okila, together with Mr. Joseph Odong. And before we went out for that break, Eddie and Hadija had shared with us why they want to stand for the post of president, but Joseph hadn't. And now the big question would be why you want to elevate from the Treasury office to the president's office come next year in January.
Oh yes. Why me? First and foremost, I'm a hands-on person. I love results, I deliver results, and I see things changing. And I love to see that happen. Secondly, I think it's not time for volleyball to look for a new face, because we already know the places that should be knocked, that should be touched, who should be talked to see this game develop further and further. And thirdly, like I said before, volleyball has relatively few finances. And over the years, I've been able to manage those few finances to have international games here 3 or 4 times. I've been able to manage to see those few finances run us through the league.
But somebody would argue that those international tournaments have also been funded by the continental body, CFVB.
I'm the treasurer. I'm the one telling you that the funds that come in from CFVB are very, very minimal. Before you ask to be able to run an international tournament in your country, you must show that you are able to manage with your own finances and within a small budget. So as Joseph Odom, I've been able to manage this small budget and see all this, by the way, all these international engagements went without an inch. Went without an inch, all of them. And it doesn't just happen. Somebody has to make it happen, and that person was me, with a team around me. The other one is that I'm a good team builder, extremely good. That one I'm proud of myself. I'm a good team builder. I've built many teams around myself who are able to correct me, who are able to tell me that, you know what, JJ, as they call me in volleyball, this is what I think should be done. And I've been able to achieve greatly. The other one is, I've been tried, tested, and proven. And I think it's time to allow me preside. You know, I've been taking charge of the docket of the treasury. It's time to allow me preside over the entire volleyball fraternity, so that we can see this game move from what it is today to better levels. That I strongly believe can be achieved.
Well, Eddie, I will come to you on this one. With the exception of JJ and Hadija, you're the only person who've not been serving in the current federation, much as you had served earlier before the federation in place at the moment. Yeah. What's your assessment? What are some of those areas that they have not been able to do right, and you believe if you won that election in January, you'll be able to put right?
Well, I think there's a very huge misconception here about what leadership is and management, and from my two colleagues, and what really volleyball in Uganda needs. Anyone who is watching the footage that is playing on the screen right now of volleyball in this country would perhaps have a lot of questions in mind, because I have had my sister Adija talk about, she ran a whole lot of activities that she's been involved in, and so is JJ. And volleyball's problem from the time I have been in volleyball and played volleyball and actually been in the federation, for close to 20 years that I have been around volleyball, volleyball's problem has been leadership. There has never been proper leadership in volleyball, a visionary leadership that takes volleyball from one step to the next. It only happens a little bit between 2004 to 2007, you know, and the moment we left the federation, things seems to be, everybody that is speaking here talks about the same thing. I think I've been in volleyball for this long. I think there's no need for things to change. That's not how we're supposed to go. Volleyball is the game that is supposed to take this country from one step to the next. And I can tell you, volleyball will compete with football. Straightforward. Until we have a good leadership in position. And now I would want to say that we need to understand that activities is not necessarily an achievement and is not success. They have had a lot of activities in place, but there is no literally success that you can measure much. Yet, I would like to credit them. Credit them for whatever they have done. They've trained technicals. You've trained so many coaches and so many people in technical, but they are not, the schools are running away from volleyball. They are not there. National juniors, for example, I looked at a report that shows 7 teams, 7 schools playing. By the way, for your information, that is a direct responsibility of the second vice president. Direct responsibility. And I have not heard her talked about how she contributed in the time she has been in the federation. Okay, 2, JJ is talking about the issue of money. Volleyball for a long time does not have any vote in the corporate. Please, I'm a marketer. And since 2002 to date, a lot of volleyball sponsorship have gone through my hand. I've written them, okay, proposal, and I've signed them. The only one Ugandan in this volleyball today that has signed the biggest money ever in the history of volleyball is Okila.
Which was?
Okay, $100,000 that came from Castlelite, from Sub Miller. Government of Uganda, we managed to push government of Uganda to give us, for the first time ever in the history of volleyball, $200,000. Because of leadership problem, we lost it.
This was supposed to go towards beach volleyball international tournament.
Now, we're talking about achievement here. As a club representative, we managed to fix things in the constitution. In 2005, we had to fix this problem, the same problem we're having today. in the constitution in 2005.
But Eddie, one will argue the same
Yes.
constitution that was fixed in 2005 is the same constitution that is messing up the game of volleyball right now.
No. The constitution never messes up the game of volleyball. Please let us get facts right. It is the individuals who are in the position of leadership that do not follow the constitution that is supposed to guide the game of volleyball in this country. Every time, Clive, that you deviate from the document that is supposed to guide, like a Bible supposed to guide the game to the next level, you begin to have problems. If the president does not follow, and the executive for that matter, does not follow what the constitution says, you're going to end up in trouble. For example, the ITC we're talking about, the woody that has led us into trouble and not having the league, shouldn't have been. There are rules and regulations put in place by this constitution, bylaws, are supposed to be followed. To my surprise, is I'm actually seated, I'm happy that I'm seated here with two people who are in this executive. I am surprised that everybody seems to be apportioning the blame to Sadiq as the leader. Yes, they say as a leader you go down with your team. But the Sadiq could not operate alone as a leader. You have an executive, 6 elected members of the federation, okay, of the Congress. These executive members sit down and actually guide together with the president. So you cannot run away and say it is the problem of the leadership of Sadiq's administration. I'm not there. Yet you're the treasurer, yet you're the second vice president. Accredited with responsibility to serve. Lastly, I would like to ask Dija, in your CV, in your manifesto, which by the way for your information, the manifesto you see first surfacing in volleyball today, I brought it in 2008 and actually magnified it in 2013. No one has ever had any manifesto in volleyball. It's never been there. You can ask any volleyballer. Because I brought this because I want us to have a point where we can refer to as a point of accountability. Measure success of this person where you can say, here you scored 1, 2, 3. Unfortunately, today people are not even following it. So, lastly, Dija, you said you're going to strengthen technical. I am shocked that at one point, volleyball referees stepped down because of no money, which JJ says he's been doing very well on it, and games could not run. But we have an international referee in this country, in Dija. You've never officiated any local game, any, at that time. Leaders live and lead by example. They walk the way. So I don't think that what you're saying that you're going to improve the technical, you're actually going to do it because you've never shown direction. That time when the league wasn't running because of referees, you didn't come to say, let me officiate. You've never officiated. So how are you going to fix technical? That's my last.
Yeah, maybe I'm sure Dija will handle that. But also the other question I wanted to ask Dija. In your submission, you did say that you had made up your mind earlier on that you were going to stand. The reason you came into the federation to see how things operate and how things run. And the question I wanted to ask, how would you assess the administration you've been part of in the last 4 years?
Very good question. I would assess that we've done a good job. We've done a good job. Like any other life's journey, not everything goes smooth, whether it is in life, whether it's in our workplaces. So when you face certain challenges, it depends on how you handle the situation. 1 or 2 could have gone out of hand, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the other stuff has not gone right. And to me, I credit whatever effort everybody put in, because minus the few challenges that we face today, I think we had good volleyball. The fraternity was working together, because I remember when Sadiq was being voted in 2013 as president, and that means all of us being voted into offices, just that most of us were unopposed. No one stood up to take up the challenge, so we offered ourselves. What happened was we took on the mantle and have been able to deliver what we could within the capacity that we could in the leadership of Sadiq. And I cannot discredit the input of all our forefathers, that is the people who played volleyball. I think they put the stones in place. Whatever executive it was, they put the stones in place so that we can be able to build and see that we make volleyball better by the day. When I look at myself as an individual, You might say I'm not refereed or whatever, probably a bit of flaws in how we've been running the system, whereby if I say my schedule is tight, I need to have a time given to me, like it's done internationally, that you know that because you need to get better each day. You cannot be in your comfort zone technically. Please give me, let's say, a match where I'll be comfortable with. Give me time in advance so that we can be able to do it. And that is what I gear towards doing, being able to build systems that can test the waters and also the test of time, whereby we draw up the schedule, look at the best of what we have. There are so many referees that have been trained and be able to use them effectively. I've not been able to.
Can I ask a question to?
Just a moment. He asked a question to me. So I've already rated what we've done and also want to add on to what I can do technically, because I'm also a leader in different I oversee different. When you look at my workplace, I oversee 2 regions, and that is in line with my work. I also have to do my work as a leader in volleyball, which I think I've given time to, and also have to run the athletes that I do. I know what sports is about because I've lived it. I have been in sports all my life. I know life is like, sports is like a human being. You need to nurture it. That's why we get sick sometimes, because we are not able to give the body what it needs. We've not been able to care for it. So to me, that's my input. Technically, I might not have done certain things at a certain time, but that doesn't mean that I do not see where we should improve. Put systems in place that will be followed, be able to run things systematically. So we have coaches, a group of coaches that have been trained, but how are we using them? Build a system whereby they'll be able to impact on the lower level, that is the grassroots, be able to give them the opportunity to serve down there, and then after we build the base, that is the schools and the grassroots, the academies that clubs are coming up with, then we can be able to have these coaches get placements and then serve effectively. But in all this, we need to know that we need to know where we've been, where we are, and where we are going. I rarely dwell on the past and also do a blame game. So
I don't think I'm doing a blame game here. Let me just say, Clive, just a moment.
Briefly,
I want to hit on the constitution. Okay? Please, and I want everyone who is watching this show to understand this, that many of our challenges in sports in this country is down to leadership. Please, this is not just a volleyball problem. This is a problem of leadership in the country. Dija, as we called you, Madam, Constitution gives you have a mandate by the Constitution of Uganda Volleyball Federation. You are actually in charge of volleyball development in schools. Please, even if I go away from the referee, okay, which you should have, and you said it is okay, many challenges, I don't agree with it because leaders account for their actions.
Exactly.
Yes. Volleyball in schools, can you please point to me one of the directions you have done that I can go and actually find, and I know that DJ has done this, and this, because leaders account. You must be accounting. Please forget about activities you have participated in. We need results.
What activities are you talking about?
In your CV, you have given us a very long CV, and I want to let you know that. Yeah, that's true. We have CVs. We're not talking about CVs here. Yes, we have CVs. Yes, but what I'm saying is, can you please point to us volleyball at school, which is directly under your mandate, what you did? Because I have had issues where there are no balls in schools, whether there are no tournaments, schools, number of schools have dropped drastically. Schools like Namagunga, Nabisunsa, Sube, Stella Maris, which used to be very strong schools, are no longer playing. So what went wrong? That is your constitutional mandate.
Okay, my constitutional mandate, I do accept that, but I have been able to run what I think is within my mandate through the Schools Commission. I think it's done a good job because I also oversee it, and I think we've had good competition. It might not be so much. I cannot compare myself with other federations that have barely anything in school. I think we've had 1 or 2 tournaments within schools. That game might have dropped within the schools that were powerhouses then, probably because maybe they've taken up different sports. Schools are also dynamic. They go with whatever can be offered to them. Many new sports have been introduced. So that's the revival I'm talking about. We now have a team of people, and when you are the leader, you're talking about leadership, and I believe I have got the qualities of a good leader, basing on where I have been able to lay my foot So I believe I will be able to foresee, to look critically at all these areas, come up with a theme-based leadership, which is supposed to be each year, to account for what we've done. Because if you're looking at literally everything as a leader, probably if I'm given a chance to lead this federation, I will look at schools first, like I said, and submit it. They are struggling, and I know that they are the key to producing volleyball. It's time to give us a chance to revive it. If it has fallen down, it doesn't mean we are going to stick to the past.
When you've been there?
I've not been there 8 years. I said 4 years.
Yes. Probably.
I've been able to oversee the schools commission that has done well to meet surplus.
No, madam.
Probably the other issue Eddie had hinted earlier on was the fact that we reached a point at some stage in the league, should have been the other season, where referees put their tools down, refused to officiate the league. And I remember, I think that weekend they went to Mbale to officiate schools. But this is what I wanted to raise to JJ. During that time, or even now, we do have a sponsor on board who close to 60 or 70% of the monies the sponsor was bringing in was supposed to go towards the league. One of those things was improve the referees' allowances, address the referees, at least they have managed to do the latter, provide playing equipment like balls, nets, antennas, and all those things. You're the person I think I talk to the most in this federation. Now, we've been at MOOBs, we've been at MOOBs, and all 4 courts don't have antennas. We've been at MOOBs. No balls. We've been at MOOBs, and coaches are using papers from exercise books to write their lineup rotations. Yet these are all things you said that the sponsors was coming to facilitate with. But we're going out for a small break. When we return, JJ will be answering that question, but also the 3 candidates will also be giving us their final remarks.
Olozolela mutulo heta tubajawo wetwi be mayui wetwi another hand wetwi be mayui wetwi. Life is good. I met this baby girl at the studio. Bamudamula Kiroshi, a freak though. Man, check 1, 2, she trying to sing some new year, new me. It will be zero, yo. We're waiting over here like King Kong. I'm trying to hit it on a post like a free throw. Her ex will be going yagala moliro, so yeah, be there. I'm a jack, go down a wall. Sala pulesa, kakanya malala. Obitade mwembera, ngatenza nyumisa. Hey, sala pulesa, wolo, kakanya malala. Hey, obitade mwembera, konkanza nyumisa. Having a good time.
desire. Jonathan and Clive. We are big on sports. Big on sports.